everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing Offseason ahead of its release later this week on Shudder. Offseason tells the story of Marie, who visits an isolated offshore island after learning her mother's grave has been vandalized. However, once she arrives, she learns the island is closing until spring, leaving her stranded with the strange townsfolk. Offseason is directed by Mickey Keating, who you may possibly know from his previous movies Darling or Psychopaths, or from his stint hosting The Core, an awesome horror talk show on Shudder. If you haven't seen The Core and you have a Shudder subscription, definitely check it out. It has guest stars like Elijah Wood and Lee Winnell, great deep dives into iconic horror movies, and tutorials on DIY effects like how to make an exploding penis. It's the best Shudder original besides the Joe Bob Briggs stuff. I have no idea why Shudder has not made more seasons. Mini rant about The Core aside, I've never actually seen any of Keating's previous films. Though after Offseason, that is definitely gonna change, because I really like this movie. I love the way Offseason begins, with a haunting monologue from the main character's mother delivered directly to camera. It's super chilling, hints at a greater mystery without revealing too much, and perfectly sets the tone for what's to come. The isolated small-town island setting the main character visits is extremely eerie. The dense fog, gray sky, constant downpour, abandoned buildings, and thick bush all work to build an effective, seemingly inescapable atmosphere. The island and the movie as a whole is shot beautifully. There's some fantastic cinematography and a number of haunting shots that instantly stick out in my mind. In terms of scares, there aren't many jumps in this. I would describe Offseason as creepy and foreboding more than downright frightening. The setting, combined with the mystery of the town and the odd townsfolk, work to create a sense of unease throughout. This feels very dreamlike and disorienting. Speaking of the townsfolk, I loved every single actor in this. For anyone who's watched some independent horror in the last decade, this movie is full of familiar faces. Jeremy Gardner from Battery and After Midnight, Richard Brake from 31 and Bingo Hell, Joe Swanberg from Your Next, A Horrible Way to Die and The Sacrament, and lead Jocelyn Donahue from House of the Devil. Whenever these actors pop up in something, it's like seeing old friends. They always give good performances, and I thought Jocelyn Donahue and Richard Brake were particularly good in this. Offseason reminds me of older gothic horror films and seemingly draws inspiration from movies like David Lynch's Lost Highway, I Walk with a Zombie, Messiah of Evil, and Wicker Man. Offseason as well feels super Lovecraftian and is extremely reminiscent of both Lovecraft's Dagon story and John Langan's The Fisherman. And I do have to say, Offseason's familiarity and similarity to other horror is also probably its biggest flaw. Many of the story beats feel like direct copies from other films. Someone getting a letter calling them home, locals that stop talking as soon as a visitor enters the bar, and roads suddenly disappearing and trees blocking the clearing while characters drive in circles. There are also certain things that happen near the end that I won't spoil, but that I have definitely seen done before in other movies. If you were being generous, you would call all these moments homages. If you were being more critical, you could call them rip-offs or lazy cliches. Either way, a lot of the story is just not very innovative, and much of Offseason's story does feel like something we have seen before. Overall, again, I really enjoyed Offseason. Maybe I gotta switch up the format of these reviews. I put all the positives at the beginning and all the negatives at the end, and by the end of the video, it feels like I actually didn't like the movie, but I really did. Even though Offseason is a familiar supernatural story, it is a very well made one with a strong sense of atmosphere and dread. Offseason is definitely a movie I will be recommending you check out. I give Offseason a 6.5 out of 10. Offseason comes out later this week on June 10th on Shudder. Once you also get a chance to check it out, please comment below, let me know what you thought of it, or comment whatever you want. Have you also seen The Core Season 1? Do you want a second season? Have you read The Fisherman? Do you also love that book? Comment below, let me know. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, Horror Flicks with Nick. Twice a week I post horror reviews, commentaries, and short recommendations for horror movies you should watch on Netflix and other streaming services. Thank you all for watching my review of Offseason. I'll see you all back next week when I'll be reviewing another new Shudder release.